So my name is Sebastian Witalec. I work as a senior developer advocate for Progress. And if you're on Twitter, my handle is SebaWita, so you can follow me. And if you have any questions after, Twitter is probably the easiest way to find me. If you email me, I might take some time to respond. Twitter, I respond a lot quicker. Just I don't have my emails on my phone because I need to have personal life sometimes. While Twitter is slightly different. So my today's session is about building chatbots. And I want to tell you a little bit about it, and I think it's a pretty cool topic. And I've been playing with chatbots for like at least a year now, and I find it really, really exciting, personally at least. So the agenda for today is pretty straightforward. We're going to answer questions like, what do chatbots eat? Whether chatbots have dreams? What are chatbots, or why would you use chatbots? What are the usual challenges that you would have when building a chatbot, or like sort of challenges that you see out there? And we will actually do a hands-on coding demo. Like, so I'm crazy, I like live coding. So we're gonna build a chatbot from scratch on the stage. So this is gonna be pretty cool. So the first question, what do chatbots eat? Anyone care to guess? Huh? Jason? That's a good one. No, they eat pizza. You know, come on, chatbots are built by developers, so automatically they should be eating pizza. But, second question, do chatbots have dreams? And if they do, what do they dream about? Anyone? No? He's been to the talk yesterday. You're such a cheater. Yes, chatbots do dream, and they dream of electric sheep. If you are a fan of Blade Runner, then you know that this book was basically the thing that inspired the film. But then, a little bit more serious this time. Why would you want to use chatbot? And to me, the answer is actually quite simple, and there's many different reasons, but my answer is this. The way we used to communicate would be in the past, like we would call each other, or you would go and knock at a friend's door, and you would go and meet, and you would talk to each other, face to face, or either call or something. But now the communication methods changed. Like you will basically be using Viber, WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger, all sort of messengers around the table. And I've been in situations where I'll be at the table with another person, and this person would WhatsApp me. Like, dude, you're like right here, talk to me. But the whole, the way we communicate changed. So automatically the way we do business should change too. So if you have customers, they would not necessarily want to call you to your call center. They might want to just, send you a text message and try to communicate. So I actually believe that, adding chatbot to your website could improve your customer service because you have somebody that is always available there. It actually can reduce like the common pain points from a call center, especially when you have like something that just like over and over again that could be answered like in 2 questions or in 2 sentences, like, oh, you want this? Oh, let me tell you, this is that, right? Chatbots are also available 24/7, right? So you don't have to have 3 different call centers in 3 different continents, right? Like they can just run and at least take care of a subset of functionality that you would want to provide to your customers. They're really good at handling repetitive tasks. So a chatbot will never get bored of answering the same question. They'll go like over and over again, and then they will do it very well. And they're really good at when it comes to like speed of communication, because like you ask a question and then the algorithm can process the answer and respond like immediately. And then they're really good at handling the backend data, right? So sometimes you would have a customer, and let's say the customer says, hey, I want to renew my contract for the mobile phone, and then the chatbot can actually make a query to the backend, do all the calculations, say, hey, here are your options. While a person will probably take, half a minute to find the right answer. So I think chatbots can really, really help out when it comes to, dealing with customers. But one thing that I do believe is that chatbots are not there to replace people. They're there to help the people do their job better, right? So while chatbots can, let's say, take care of 50% of the mundane tasks, people can be used for like the really tricky scenarios. So you as well like can stimulate and help them. Anyway. So what are the usual chatbot challenges? So I've been basically playing with chatbots around like, and I noticed a bunch of different things and issues. One of the first things that I see is a lot of chatbots have fixed decision trees. So what I mean is that the chatbot expects you to do something in specific order, like step A, step B, step C. And if you try to do something out of order, the chatbot is going to ignore it or just get very confused. So we have a scenario like somebody comes up and says, hey, I want to book a flight to London for Wednesday. I can help you book a flight, sure. Where do you want to go? And then you might be a bit confused. It's like, why is he asking me where am I going to go, where I want to go, if I already told you that I want to go to London, right? And so you keep going, say like, well, London, when? I was like, well, I told you when, but like I'll repeat it Wednesday. And then again, it's like, sorry, didn't get that. And again, the chatbot expects you to provide a date in a specific format, so you can provide that format, and then like kind of going on and on. So what really went wrong in here was that the chatbot, it had like the steps as, first step, let me recognize what sort of task you want me to do, and then I'm gonna take you through step A, B, C to achieve that, instead of kind of saying, oh, I recognize what you want, and you already provided me some data, let's skip to the step 3. And it didn't do that, and that's quite common out there. Another one is around the lack of understanding of business entities. So if you're building a chatbot, and you're building a chatbot, let's say for a restaurant or for a hospital or something, the chatbot should be aware of, like, say, doctor's name or treatments, or if you have pizza, like what kind of pizza you sell, so that when you type it, you know, like in a sentence, the chatbot can use natural language processing to recognize, you know, each individual entity from the sentence. So if you look at this conversation, you have somebody coming up, say, hey, I want to meet with Dr. Burke on Tuesday. And the chatbot's like, sure, I can help you book an appointment. What is the doctor's name, right? And this is the challenge, because the chatbot recognized that you want an appointment, but he didn't see this Dr. Burke, that this is the doctor you want to see. So if then somebody responds with something like, what? The chatbot will go like, well, what time would you like to see Dr. What? And then the person's like, what is going on? And the chatbot goes like, I'm not sure I understand you. And the person go like, me neither. Right? It's like, this is not going anywhere. Like, you really need to understand, you know, that this is the doctor you want to talk to. So to do it properly, we should have something like this. I want to meet with Dr. Burke on Tuesday, and the chatbot should be able to actually go to the data that it's trained on and recognize, oh, I actually have all sort of information about this doctor, so I can help guide this conversation now. And now the chatbot goes like, sure, what time would you like to meet Dr. John Burke on Tuesday? And then we can kind of like move on, and it's really, really good. Another one is around the lack of proper acknowledgements. So basically, when you communicate and I give you a lot of information in a sentence, sometimes it's very good that you repeat to me, like that you understood what I really want from you, right? So if I have a scenario like this, when I say, hey, I would like to sign up for a health insurance for a ski trip to Tel Aviv from June 9th to June 14th. Nothing wrong with that, right? Ski trip. Sure, you can do that. And if the chatbot responds like, what is your age? You're going to go like, do you really understand that I want to go skiing to Tel Aviv in summer? It's like, I don't know. I wouldn't be so sure. So it's like, yeah, like basically chatbot is like, are you sure you got my info? So a proper way of handling this would be, I want to go skiing in Tel Aviv in June. The chatbot was like, what the hell are you doing? No, just kidding. The chatbot should go, a skiing trip to Tel Aviv is always a good idea, number one. Number two, yeah, you have a skiing guy. And then he says, let's find you an insurance from 29th of June, June to 2019, June 14th. So basically by doing that, you kind of acknowledge that you understood that this is what the user wants. And then you can follow up with the remaining questions. And this is very, very important. I don't know, like you can go skiing in Tel Aviv, right? I would. Dealing with ambiguities, that's another one. So basically, when we speak with each other, it's actually really easy to say something that can be misinterpreted. And when it comes to dealing with chatbots and natural language processing, machines can get confused even more so. So if you have a very simple scenario where somebody says, I talked to Dr. Burke, and he told me to book an appointment with Dr. Alcott. So to us, it's fairly simple scenario, but the chatbot could get confused with that, and it says, oh, you mentioned 2 doctors. I'm going to get you an appointment for the first one. So like, sure, let's get you an appointment for Dr. Burke. And the person's like, no, I want to see Dr. Alcott. You know, what is going on? Do you listen? So a lot better scenario, like a way of dealing with this scenario is actually something like that. So when somebody was recommended by Dr. Berg to see Dr. Alcott, sure, the chatbot is confused, you don't know which one, so you should go and deal with the ambiguity. It says, hey, you mentioned these two doctors, which one of them do you want to see? And at that point, the user can just click at one of them because minimal effort, and they're fairly confident, that they know what's going on. All right, no long-term memory, and really, there is no excuses for chatbots not to handling that. So what happens is, chatbots are machines, and they should have unlimited memories. They should remember what sort of things you were talking about in the previous conversations, right? So if you have a scenario like somebody tries to book an appointment and says, hey, it's me again, can you book me an appointment with Dr. Berg on Tuesday at 11? So if this is somebody that makes this appointment every week, right, we should already know something about this person. So if the chatbot goes to something like, hey, absolutely, let me book an appointment for this day, this time, what is your phone number? And at this point, the person could go like, well, don't you have it already? Like, I'm giving you this phone number every week. What's going on? So a lot better way of handling it, again, would be somebody coming in, again, they want to book an appointment, we acknowledge what they want, and we basically say, hey, I remember last time you used this phone number, do you still want to use it? And at that point, they can say yes, and we can carry on, or they say no, and they can change it. By the way, anybody knows what this phone number is? It's somebody very important in the UK. No? It's Theresa May's phone number. It's a number 10. And since she's moving out, she probably, gonna say no, because we'll have a new prime minister very soon. So, you see, it's important to give the option to change. And the final one that I want to show is lack of conversational UI. So the whole idea is like, since we're dealing with chatbots, you think like everything should be text, but that's not necessarily true. We should also use UI components to kind of guide people through the whole journey and then provide them with the options. So I'll give you one scenario, which is very simple. Somebody comes up, says, I want another appointment with Dr. Berg on Tuesday. Sure, let me help you find an appointment. What time? So what is wrong with this? Anybody? No? Basically, if Dr. Berg is very busy, and I say, I want to see him at 12, the chatbot most likely is going to say, he's busy at 12, what time? Right? And this is going to take a while. Well, it is, because you're basically guessing when the doctor is going to be available. So a lot better way of handling that is say, hey, I want an appointment with Dr. Berg on Tuesday. Sure, I can help you with that. Here are the available slots. So you see, like, we're using the conversational UI to provide the user with the options so that he can make a decision. And then I could go like, oh yeah, I'll just pick 11 and we can move on. So I think those are like very, very common challenges that I see that chatbots are really struggling out there. So yeah, it should be easy to know, implementing a solution that deals with that, but not necessarily. So here's the story. At Progress, like a couple of years ago, we wanted to build a chatbot that allows you to basically book a meeting room. Like, we have offices like across the globe, from Australia to United States, like everywhere. And the scenario was pretty simple. I want to be able to say how many people, whether this has to be a projector or not, what time, and then for how long, and maybe should we have streaming or something. Like, pretty simple application, right? So you would think like you could build it over the weekend. Maybe. But we did analysis and we created like the logic tree of like how the whole conversation should work. And this is version 1 of the diagram that we created. And if you try to implement that like with a lot of switches and if statements, it's going to be a complete nightmare. You'd probably spend a year building that. So we thought, instead of spending a year building this, we decided to build an engine that can do this for us, right? That was the thing. So as a result, like, we created Progress Convey Chat. So it's actually a pretty cool chatbot engine, and I will show you in a second, that is like AI powered, which basically uses AI for natural language processing and understanding what sort of things you write, and you can learn, you can actually train it up front with what sort of entities to deal with, etc., etc. But the most important thing for me, at least, is it uses a declarative programming language. So you're not making any if statements or any loops. You're just describing to the chatbot what you want to achieve, and the chatbot deals with managing the conversation for you. So I'll give you an example. This is how I write one step of a conversation. I say, okay, so I want to have a step that is of type question. It's the entity type is going to be country, and the available values will be like France, Germany, Italy, Poland. And as a prompt, I want to say which country are you traveling to, and then I want to use like the quick reply display type to provide like little buttons to the user. And this is enough code to do this, where I have a chatbot where I can say, hey, I want to order a car, and the chatbot goes like, yeah, sure, which country are you traveling to? Italy, let's move on. Like this very little code, like no if statements or anything, no UI whatsoever. And then once you build that, you can use the same code to actually deploy to like Facebook Messenger, Viber, to anything in the web, so like React, Angular, Vue, anything you want, and then to native mobile, like iOS, Android, and NativeScript as well works. And we right now working on integrations for Amazon Alexa and WhatsApp as well. So that should be cool. So I want to do a quick demo. We got like 15 minutes, and then so I'll build a chatbot from scratch. So let's see if the demo gods are with me. So this is basically getting started, like when you create a brand new project at bots.kinvey.com, you will get a project like this. So I will just jump here and then add a new conversation. So let's get conversational type go, and I'm gonna call it order pizza. And I'm gonna copy this order pizza because that's gonna be important in a second. And I'm gonna start with a step of type message, and the message will be, sure, let me help you order a pizza. Something simple like that. So I have a very simple chatbot right now that only just spits out a message when I want to order pizza. So in my training, this is where the AI starts stepping in. I have my conversations, so I can say, okay, I want to trigger order pizza when somebody says I am hungry, or I want a pizza, or somebody says order pizza. Yeah, we don't have to be polite. You don't have to say please or anything. It's okay. And basically with just this, I should be able to now go open like the test console, and I can say I am hungry. And the chatbot says, sure, let me help you order pizza. And I can say, me is hungry. That's not gonna work, probably. No? Order pizza. Well, yeah, we can make it train like, yeah, if I say something like that, it's 58%, but I can say I hungry, or I am hungry. That should work at least. Nope. Maybe not. I'm being too ambitious. The idea is that you have to train it with like more expression stuff, and it learns over time. But that's number one. Like next thing is like if you want to order pizza, we need some entities, right? So we should have entities like size. So I can have like a static type, and I can say I need values like small, okay, and I will need like a medium pizza. Everything runs like over Wi-Fi, so there might be some delays. Come on. That is not helping. Let's see, small. Okay, we've got small. We got medium. And we can also use aliases, like I can say medium is 15 inch. So you can either say medium or provide 15 inch. And then I can say large, which is 18 inch. And I can save that. And already, like even without adding anything to a conversation, I can test things like I am large, my screen is 15 inch. And you can see like, you know, the chatbot can recognize larger size, 15 inch size as well, etc., etc. Another type that we should have is like, so obviously you can't always type everything, right? So most likely your pizza is gonna come from some sort of backend. So we could actually make a dynamic connection. So I have this backend here that I have like pizzas that has like name and a type and an image, so I can connect to it directly. So what I can do is something like this. So I am going to say I want to get pizza from over here, and I need to add to the headers like the authorization key. So this is the Kinvey backend, but you can use absolutely anything you want. I just use it for my own convenience. But by just connecting to this backend, I can then say, I want to get my data from the name field. And when I press test, you see like I'm getting these pizzas from my backend. So right now, I should be able to actually start building additional steps to my conversation that allows me to ask for the size of the pizza and the pizza type. So I can add another step, say, hey, question, let's ask for size. So this entity here is like a name of a variable, and this is the type of the entity that we're asking for. And here's the message we can print to the user, say, how big? Could be something as simple as that. And then I can add display, type, quick reply. So that's gonna give me like some little buttons. And then basically, I can do exactly the same thing for pizza. And I'm gonna change it later a little bit, but I can say which pizza. Let's save this, and I can test it. And I can say something like this. I am hungry. Sure, let me help you order a pizza. How big? I can say small. And then barbecue chicken. And then kind of like keeps going. So it works already. Like I can use the data, etc. There's the other thing that this sure let me help you order a pizza appears every time, because the chatbot will evaluate the whole conversation from top to down. So I can actually add a condition to actually say, I only want to display this when not $has, size. So basically, I only want to display this message when we don't have a size of the pizza. The other thing, and we'll test in a second, the other thing that we can do is I can say order pizza large. So we didn't get any acknowledgements, right? Like the chatbot understood that we wanted a large pizza, but it basically didn't tell me that he understood that. So what I can do in for example, the sizes, we have reactions. So with reactions, I can say, I want to have an acknowledgement. So I can say, I see you like your pizza size. And this is basically how I can provide an acknowledgement. And an additional thing that we can do is we could, for example, do suggestions. So this is when chatbot is learning about your preferences. So I can say, do you want your pizza size? And you will see this is really cool. So I'll be testing a couple of things right now. So say, I want a medium pizza. So we should get a nice acknowledgement. You could see, I see you like your pizza medium, and we can kind of like carry on. And then if I say, I am hungry, notice that small is the last option. Actually, medium is before was the last, but let's play with small. I'm gonna choose small now, which was last, supreme. Again, I am hungry. And now the chatbot is already learning. See, small is now the first option. I'm choosing it again, supreme. And then on the third run, I am hungry. It actually provides me the questions like, do you want your pizza small? And then I can say yes or no. So it's kind of like it learns your preferences. And this was like this just very little code, in fact, that I had to add, which is really, really cool. Other things that we can do in terms of display, we can even query the backends to provide the data. So there is this other type called single select, which is pretty cool. And then I can provide like a data source. And we're working on a UI designer that will help you provide this, but I can provide information like endpoint. So I will say my data comes from here. So this backend. Usually you have all those URLs. The method is get. And we will have headers. And in the headers, basically, I'm adding the authorization key. Oops. Authorization. And I need to add the key. Let's add that here. All right. So I can make a query, and I can provide a template on how to display the record. So I can say the title. So for each item, I'm going to use the name as the title. The subtitle is going to be type. So that's going to tell me whether it's veggie or not. And then for image, there is img property. So I can add img. That should do it. And then last two things I need to add is button text. So I say select this pizza. And then one more title that triggers it, find pizza. And this is pretty cool, because now I can query my my backend to list the pizza. So I can say I am hungry for large pizza. Sure. I see you like the pizza large, find pizza, and now we have like a nice list picker that I can select from, and I can select veggie, and then kind of like move on. So one last thing that we can probably do from here is in my backend, I have collection called all orders where I can actually save my records. So what I can do, let's query what we have in here. And I can create a webhook that I can send the order over there. So what I will do again is something like this. Let me copy this. I'm going to add one more step over here. And this is step webhook. And it will save the result to this URL. Its method is post. For headers, we need to do the authorization and the key. Yep, let's do this. And as the next step, we can actually provide the data that we provide. So stay here, don't close. So basically, we were capturing. So here's going to be the field that is in the database. So I can call it pizza name. And I'm going to take it from here is pizza. And the second field is going to be size. And that comes from size. And then basically, this is going to be like my last run of the demo. But what I can do, and hopefully if I implement it correctly, we can go and make our order, and then it should save into a backend. So I am hungry. We all are. Let's choose a medium pizza. Find pizza. I'm going to choose ultimate cheese. Save that. And that should save it to the backend. So now if I go to my backend, let me go to the collections, orders. We should have this new record where we have ultimate cheese and the size is medium. How cool is that, right? Like it was just like 15 minutes and I was able to build this application. And to make it better, like I can go and actually publish this application to like an Angular app. So I already prepared the configuration. So all I need, I get this script that I can add to my index.html. So I will add it I have this application and you'll be able to play with it. And we don't have maps, and this API key is just some ID. It's not super important. But now if I reload my pizza application, see that we have this icon over here, so I can click on it. So this is already deployed to StackBlitz, and I can say I am hungry for a veggie pizza. I hope that's how it's spelled. Let's see. Let's reload it. Sometimes this website actually uses big images. Okay, I am hungry. Let's do this. No. Why are you slow now? Yeah, all right, I'm hungry. Choose large, find pizza. And this is literally running on a website that is just outside, publicly available. And then this will go and save it to the backend and all that. So like, how cool is that, right? Come on. I built it in 15 minutes. So there's like a lot more I could do, but like I got only 15 minutes to do that demo. So yeah, I think. Oh yeah, order pizza. Come on, bring it over. I told you this thing works. Yes. How much do I owe you? How much do I owe you? Have a chewing gum. Do you want a chewing gum? There you go. It's a real pizza. I wasn't kidding. Like, this chatbot is serious. I mean, anybody hungry? Like, you come over in a second. I'm almost done. So, just the final thing. What do you think? Cool, huh? You write for 15 minutes. A crazy guy walks in, brings you 2 boxes of fresh pizza. I love it. So where to go next? If you want to learn more about it, you can check our website. There's a tutorial that I created. It takes about 4 to 6 hours, and you can learn a lot of really cool stuff, how to build a chatbot. Where I was building the chatbot is at bots.kinve.com. You can check our documentation. We have a cool case study. And the demo I was showing you just now, you can actually go to bit.ly/AngularPizzaChat, and you can actually go and play with it. So that chatbot is deployed, and it works on your phones as well. So it's pretty cool. So yeah, no electric sheep were hurt in the making of this presentation. That's very important. And yeah, thank you very much.